Okay, Nick and Andy, first kind of big marquee game of the new season. Manchester United against Arsenal at Old Trafford. Storylines are swirling here, Nick. I mean, new look United, especially in attack. Talk of change of culture from Amorim, etc. Against the beefed up Arsenal, I think it's fair to say, with Gyökeres up top, a lot more depth. They're going for it this season, of course, as they always are, but it seems like they're more serious about it. What are your serious thoughts about this game? Because this is a fun one to have in the opening weekend of the new season.
It is. It's in thinking about this game, it's struck me quite a bit like last season's very early Chelsea versus Man City, where you had a feeling that Chelsea was going to be much improved, but man, for their project, it stinks to open the year in this situation. And at home to an Arsenal team that I think is as geared up, as geared in, as focused, as dangerous as possible. One of the things that we're seeing out of all the top 6 teams, and this is why I think Arsenal are a true title favorite, is it's the return of the striker. It's the return of the player being too deep at that position, being able to play 2 strikers at once, being able to go against the run of play if needed, and Arsenal having Havertz coming off the bench. Whoever Spurs decide to have coming off the bench, Man City having Marmoush and Haaland, United signing Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. This go down the top 6, and there are genuine threats to play 2 up top. And I will be so interested in how the Arsenal attack looks once they settle into what they want to be.
And Andy, I think the thing around United is that they finally settled into what we know they can be under Ruben Amorim and the summer. A lot of talk, as I said, about the culture changing. He had that period for most of the last season where it wasn't going great, but obviously learned an awful lot about the players he could trust on, the players he can't trust on, and moved on a lot of those already. Where are you at with Manchester United? Because when I think about them, I think back to last season. I looked at some of the stats and was quite surprised about how defensively it wasn't terrible. If you actually look at some of the numbers of goals they conceded, etc. But it was that final bit of creativity, controlling games. But in theory, adding these attacking players and then asking maybe Bruno to play a bit deeper should help them control games a lot more and be more ruthless, potentially, in the final third. And again, it's hard to go big on United, especially in this game, considering how many false dawns we've seen from them over the years. But do you think they sort of got enough here for top 6? And I guess Nick's right. When we saw Chelsea early last season, even though they lost to City early on, you were like, they're going to be up there.
Yeah, they're going to be better than 15th this year, I think.
Bold.
I think they will be more ruthless. I don't know about the controlling games part, though. They're going to score a ton of goals on the counterattack, and they might be the most fun team to watch in the league this season. They might have to win 5 or 6 games 4-3 this year, because I still don't know that they're going to be able to defend, and that's half of the game. And which center backs do you trust that are at the club right now? We don't know about Lenny Yaro. Harry Maguire is still there. Matthias de Ligt has, been fine, solid. He's played with a ton of different guys there along the back line, and so maybe it's a little harsh to judge him at this point. But I would say, to this point of his United career, a slight disappointment. Aiden Heaven is 19 years old. So they're going to struggle defensively. They're going to give up a lot of goals. If they're going to play Patrick Dorgu and Amad Diallo as the 2 wide guys in that 3-4-2-1, they're not going to get a lot of defending out wide. And so that's going to put more pressure on those center backs who, we just discussed, not very good. But the forwards are going to be incredible. The way that Mbeumo and Cunha at their previous stops were incredible counterattacking players, not just on their own, but in combination with others. Those 2 getting together, I think, could be some magical stuff this season for Manchester United on the counterattack. I think it's going to be very specific to the counterattack, and Šeško is going to fit into that as a big target man. He can run, he's mobile, he can stretch the defense a little bit, open up more space for them. So I'm more positive about Manchester United in the sense that I think they have an identity this season, and they have not had that since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club. And we have cried out, who are you? What are you trying to be? Pick something, stick with it. And We'll see how long Amorim gets, I guess. But it does seem like they have picked a lane and they're going to drive in it for a bit of time. And I think that should be, a really positive development for Manchester United fans.
And it reminds me a little bit of how Arsenal were when Arteta came in, Nick, because it was a bit of a mess for a while. But then there is a clear path. There is a clear idea around recruitment, around, the way they're going to play. And that to me is, it's one thing trying to do that. It's one thing actually doing it is a completely different thing. But how do you feel about where Arteta and the project's at with Arsenal? Because they've got that striker in Gyökeres, they've got Madueke, Norgard, so many other sort of good additions, and Zubamendi as well, who I know you like a lot. And it feels like they're deep enough to go that extra step and either win the Premier League or win the Champions League. They could have won it both competitions in the last couple of years, but it feels like that extra depth now. They're more covered. And they have a proper number 9 who can finish off the chances, like you mentioned. So how do you feel about them this season?
It's loaded. It's really loaded in multiple ways. Even the word loaded is loaded because I think this team is loaded with talent. Arteta, to me, is at the heart of it. How is he going to react? Because last season, Arsenal failed him and the team by not getting a center forward in January. I think arguably, with all due respect to Liverpool, it cost us a real title race. And now going into this season with everyone else beefed up, was that a chance squandered? Was that a chance taken by Liverpool and one dropped by Arsenal? Because I think they are loaded. I'm picking them to win the league. But we saw him have his last season Klopp moment. Remember Klopp's last season at Liverpool? He kind of started losing in his press conferences a little bit, talking about stuff that didn't really, that was a lot of Arteta last year. Couldn't deal with the bad luck, couldn't deal with the weird red cards, hated when anyone questioned him. And I like to think that the summer reset him. I like to think that getting the pieces he needed reset him. They may well start with 7 or 8 wins out of 8, but when they wobble, how he reacts, they got rid of the me first guys. And when you do that, you get to a point where the last guy left is me, him. And he is, I don't know, I think he's the only thing that can really get in their way this year. I don't necessarily think he will, but we'll find out if he can be an elite manager this season.
They got kind of tougher start to the season, Andy. So yeah, it will be really interesting. Andy, when I talk about this game in particular, where Arsenal are the favourites, I think it's fair to say, even though United have caused them problems over the last few seasons. But is it just out wide? You mentioned it earlier with Ahmad and Dorgu playing as wing-backs, and you've got Saka, Martinelli, Madueke on the other flank. Seems a little bit daunting, I think, for Manchester United in that particular area of the pitch to stop Arsenal getting at them, and the way Odegaard and Rice will be linking up with those wingers on those sides. I mean, that's where United are going to have to lock down this part of the pitch, right, to have any success.
Yeah, out wide, in the middle. I think Arsenal are going to be able to move the ball and probably create chances just about how they want to. I think United will be happy to sit back and try and make it a little bit more difficult and like I said, go at the counter. But I mean, you look at just the on-ball ability, Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard, the way that they should be able to just, whether it's Casemiro or Ugarte or Bruno in there playing deeper, should just be able to pass around the midfield really and work the ball to wherever they want. That to me, I think probably central midfield is, projecting United over the course of the entire season. It's all going to come down to that, whether you 38 games or individually game by game, how well they can slow teams down in the middle third of the field, I think is going to really determine a lot of their season because, they're very heavily skewed towards the attacking side of the game. And that's fine. You can go that route. We saw Ange Postecoglou kind of go that route a little bit last season, and there are maybe slight vibes of the way that Spurs team was built and put together. Obviously, the tactics very different, and so it'll play out different on the field. But when you're that imbalanced, I guess my point is that at some point that's going to show itself, and when it shows itself, it looks really bad, and it looks like you kind of don't know what you're doing at times. And so if they can limit. I think just how quickly Arsenal play through the middle of the field, then I think United have a chance in this game. But like you say, Joe, Arsenal deserve favorites.
Score prediction wise, I'm going 2-1 to Arsenal. I think just that extra bit of quality. Now they have Gyökeres, etc. I just think they'll have a bit too much for Man United to handle. Nick, what are you going with? Because I was nearly going to go for a draw myself.
The thing that scares me is we talked about the defense for Man United. I'm not sure about the keeper. And we know how good Arsenal have been on corner kicks and set pieces. And guess what? Who's joining the two giant attacking center backs? A giant attacking center forward. So I'm going to actually say, even though it's at Old Trafford, an encouraging 3-1 to Arsenal.
Andy, your thoughts?
Nick, we're already new season wavelength. We're right there. It's exactly what I've got as well for all the reasons that you said and everything that you've talked about. They're also just miles and miles, seasons and seasons ahead in the project as well. And so you would expect that, a title contending team this season going to the 15th place team last season on the opening day. Okay, that's 3 points to kickstart their campaign, right? And so, yeah, maybe we'll all look silly come Monday, but I don't think we will.
Yeah, and don't be too disheartened, Manchester United fans. Like we said, it's early in the season. It feels like they're going in the right direction, but this is a tough assignment for the opening weekend of the new campaign. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest how-to-watch information, preview, analysis, video highlights, and more. Manchester United against Arsenal at Old Trafford in the sunshine. I'm pretty sure it's always sunny on the first day of the season in the Premier League. What a brilliant marquee game to look forward to on the opening weekend of the new season. Thanks, Nick and Andy, for joining me. Thanks to everyone watching, and enjoy the new campaign.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lowe, and as we head towards the end of an exciting Premier League season, make sure you like and subscribe on the NBC Sports YouTube channel for more content like this.